Yo, welcome everyone, Sanju Chia here, and it is officially the 8th of October, and you know what that means? Bleach! Well, not yet. Maybe by the time this video goes up, the first episode of the 1000-Year Blood War might be out, but today we're joined by Vari Studios TV. You might recognize him from our end-of-month subscriber streams, regular visitor, regular collab. Well, we haven't done much collabs, but anyway, what on my youths?
I'm here. Excited for like I can feel the shivers down my spine.
So, yo, as you guys can tell, today we'll be talking about Bleach. I mean, it's probably obvious at this point. But yo, it's at least with this recording, we're 2 days before the premiere of Bleach: The 1000-Year Blood War, the first episode, and honestly, fans across the world are like totally excited, myself included. Kyle from Vari Studios here included as well, and it's overall just a good vibe. But we have quite a bit to discuss. Hopefully, we don't take too much of your time. But just generally, like, Doc, how do you feel about Bleach coming back?
I can't even put into words how excited I am. Now that I look back at the trailers for Bleach, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5 trailers for Bleach alone coming back. The views are incredible, especially on Twitter. The hype is real. I still can't believe that Bleach is back. I'm like a little kid again, sitting in front of the TV, just waiting for the moment. My eyes are blessed. I'm the one thing I'm waiting to hear most of all, funny enough, is the word Ankai. That's all.
Funny enough,
I'm
like,
good after that.
I would imagine you watched the trailer they released. Was it today or was it last night with Yamamoto saying Bankai?
It was last night. Well, looking at it now, it says 6 hours ago. So yeah, I heard it.
Yeah. So yeah, I can imagine the anime onlys are hyped, and I mean, just like you said, just to even like encapsulate it into like a one long sentence here, like it's been 10 years since the Bleach anime, like, I mean, was cancelled, stopped, put on hiatus, however you want to slice and dice it. And between that and I would imagine I wouldn't say hate, but I would say to a degree, probably some disrespect, or whether it's true or not, the alleged, disputes between Kubo and Shonen Jump. All these things combined have kind of led, the fans to really be pushing the Bleach hype train after it getting this major push between not just the anime, but the somewhat of a continuation of the manga, Burn the Witch, all that jazz and blues. But with all of that being said, I think anybody can understand why anybody would be hyped for Bleach coming back. But it segues into like, what I was saying to you off ear in terms of just being curious. Like, the hype for Bleach is understandable, it's justified, but at what point will the hype turn toxic? And I think one of the major things I was putting to you off the ear is that, especially since you yourself have like recently like read the entirety of the 1000-Year Blood War arc, it's like we've talked about the issues like surrounding the arc from start to finish, right? And one of my concerns that really is the source of why we're even doing this video is, like, apart from the good animation, the good art, the good soundtracks, the hype, when the problems, narratively speaking, start showing up once anime only starts seeing the arc, right? Will the hype turn toxic? Like, is it going to be like that one guy on Twitter is going to be like people really waited 10 years for this, and then it just spirals into this toxic back and forth where, one person says that, and then the next person is like, yo, like, you see, you waited 10 years for Bleach and you get Bleach and then you start complaining. Those type of, flame wars. So I don't know, with everything I just said, what do you think about that?
It's hard to say if the anime onlys would actually notice these particular issues.
Yeah.
If they fix it within the storyline, which Bleach isn't the type of anime that I've seen to deviate much from the source manga, because for Bleach,
So
the source manga is like the Bible or something along that lines. But I think that if it follows the manga to the letter, then yeah, there will be people on Twitter that will say, "Hey, I think it's more along the lines of the manga readers are going to be the ones to call it out because I'm going to surely be the one to call out these issues. Like some of these issues are just glaring and makes no sense whatsoever. So if I see it in anime form, I'm like, you guys had what 10 years to fix this, and yet we're seeing it on our screen. So I don't think it would be a case where it would completely turn the anime on its head and
yeah.
people would be on Twitter flaming it to death, like the hate train and everything. I don't think it'll get to that state, but I do think it will get to the state where if it is shown on screen, we will have, you could say, a mob saying, hey, fix this, because
Yeah.
you had 10 years to do it, so why is it showing? And this and that don't make sense. Explain this to us. Why must it be like this?
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
one of those supporters as well. We want to see Bleach come back in all of its glory. We want to see it trample many of the biggest anime out there now, and we want the newer generation to feel what we felt when we were growing up watching this epic story unfold.
True, true. And funny enough, it might even be the case, despite my concerns, it might even be the case where like they'll watch through and they'll enjoy it from start to finish. And maybe on like subsequent rewatches of like the Thousand Year Blood War specifically, like persons will say, this could have been done better, or X, Y, and Z. It could be a case like that as well. But I think it's kind of credible that we even have this discussion because even if it's just additional fight scenes, I think the fact that Kubo himself, who's come out on through interviews and said that he's been working with the studio in terms of adding additional scenes, but I think that might be limited to additional fight scenes. But considering it's been announced that the Bleach the arc is just going to be like 4 anime cores, so probably about 48 to 52 episodes, and that's about 200 plus, or about 210 chapters, give or take. So it's like it just seems like there might be just additional fight scenes and nothing to really like substantially improve the narrative. So yeah, like if it's limited to just additional fight scenes, how do you feel about that? Yeah, I mean, I know it's really not enough, but I'm just giving like given the facts of it just being 4 cores to adapt 200 and about 210 chapters is like it doesn't sound like there's going to be anything substantial added to really improve the issues we've had with the arc. So yeah.
Right, right. Yeah, so without spoiling anything, there will be deaths, a lot of deaths, of some people's favorite captains and some returning captains as well. And I think one of the problems that I personally had with reading the manga
Yeah, because
is
you
that
bitch through basically.
most of these deaths come in a single panel, and that's it. They're never mentioned again, right? Like as it that to me makes it seem like the story was rushed.
Yeah.
Just trying to wrap up some deaths and move on to this fight and that fight, and not giving the other captains or the ones that fought to be captains proper respect that they deserve. And I also see this narrative where Kubo, I'm guessing, was trying to write out the old Shinigami as best as possible. Like the ones who built the Soul Society coming up, and then hyping up the ones that were essentially elevated to what I call angel level, only to bring them back down. Like, I really don't like that narrative whereby, like I said, it's just one panel for a death of a favorite captain, and we just move on from that. We don't hear anything about it. Nobody says anything else, and then a new captain pops up as if these people didn't matter. You get me? So
Yeah.
to see if anime would expound more on that aspect. If even showing a funeral after Naruto did this spectacularly. Every time there is the death of somebody important or even some side characters, you see the proper respect that are given. And a lot of these characters get called back in the future as well.
Yeah.
You know, the story don't just wrap up with them just dying off just like that. So I don't just want to see extended fight scenes. I mean,
Yeah.
wouldn't that just be a distraction from all the plot holes, though? Just extended fight scenes.
This is why I brought up the fact that maybe initially, yeah, nobody not gonna have a problem with it, but maybe like after
Yeah.
I don't know, say if things wrap up, say by 2024, right? If they take breaks between cores, and it's like everybody's like rewatching everything one time, maybe like that's the point. Person gonna be like, "Yo, this don't make sense," or and that's when the hype is gonna be like, yeah, people gonna probably start complaining, and then there's a high
Yeah.
possibility it can, as we're saying here in the video title, will the Bleach hype become toxic. So that's what I'm really concerned about, because all right, like for me, and I've said to you before, my major issue with the final arc, apart from, and this first thing isn't really like a it's more of like a jarring experience in terms of the Quincy having these ridiculous abilities. That's
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's another thing.
yeah, but it's more so like a lot of the extended lore that I've been hearing about in the novels that have come out since the Bleach manga ended.
Yeah.
It's more so I thought those that lore should have been integrated into the final arc in terms of things relating to the Soul
I
King
think so too.
and
I
the
think
Zero's
so
division,
too.
and uh it just didn't feel like the payoff was when it comes on to Yuabak. Well, if that's how it's pronounced, don't crucify me. If just payoff regarding him and the Soul King and the Zero Squad and just the overall lore
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
Bleach.
the story felt kind of dry, didn't it, with the villains? It was just a little bit.
Yeah.
We needed just a little bit more backstory on these people and where
Yeah.
they came from.
Yeah, but and I will, admit that it must be rough on Kubo, but I mean, it's kind of like his fault because you have so many characters throughout this one war arc.
Well,
it's crazy.
The Quinces alone are like I think
20 something because it's
between
like
36 and 41 different characters there.
exactly.
I believe so, and there are some within the Thousand Year Blood War in the manga that that are referred to in the side stories from the novels, right? Because there were additional fights that we didn't see.
Ah,
so, so I can understand having over. For this sake, I'll just exaggerate it a little bit. Having over 50 villains in this one arc versus over 50 heroes, and not having enough writing space or elbow space in order to fully flush them out.
yeah, I agree. And it's like you said before, like things were definitely rushed because I remember back in this is what because Bleach ended in 2016, and I remember when they announced like your Bleach is ending in like I they gave Kubo less wiggle room in terms of announcements. They gave him less than, say, Kishimoto, because I believe when Naruto was announced to be ending, I could be wrong, but I think they gave us like a 10 chapter notice. For Bleach, I think it was like 5 chapters. Like Bleach ends in 5 chapters. So it's like the rush nature of the arc, particularly when it's coming towards the end, it really didn't help the cause for Bleach, honestly. And in this era where not only just the Thousand Year Blood War coming out, the final arc, I'm kind of curious as a side note if they'll continue numbering the anime like episode 388 and continue from there. If 387 was the last episode, I'm just curious, or if it will be like a standalone Thousand Year Blood War episode 1. But I'm going off on a tangent there. It's like, yeah, the rush nature of the latter half, especially closer to the end, it kind of just exaggerates the issue of not enough build up and payoff, I think, when it comes on to the arc. Like, and even even the mental gymnastics in terms of how the final villain is quote unquote defeated. It's, I mean, Kubo trolling with
Yeah,
Ichigo, like, there's just so many things, bro.
yeah, yeah. It's really interesting, isn't it? And because we don't live in a landscape that, well, the landscape has completely changed in the last 10 years when it comes down to um, live and die by what your fans say no. Um, but then I think you had more along the lines of forums
Yeah.
and stuff like that, chat rooms. Now everybody has a front row seat to see what you're saying, to hear what you're saying, to vote up what you're saying or vote it down, or as they say, ratio you. So this would be really interesting. I really, really want to see how and I'll be on Twitter lurking like crazy.
Yeah, I
I
know, I
want to
know, I know.
see the difference between Bleach Day One and Bleach the end of the Thousand Year Blood War. When
True.
it comes on to the
Fan.
types of tweets that are made, or the types
Mm,
of status updates that are sent off, the types of YouTube videos to come off.
true, true, true.
So I'm really interested to see how the sentiments may or may not change. Like I said, I don't think that the issues with the manga will overshadow it, but I definitely think people, if it's not fixed,
Yeah.
will have a lot of problems with Bleach. Well, Bleach is already one of the greatest anime in the world, but we've seen some of the great anime fall from grace with a horrible ending.
Yep.
Let's, I hate throwing it under the bus, but let's throw Attack on Titan's ending under the
Very
bus for a quick
controversial
moment.
ending. Of course, guys, just plugging my own video. I'll probably link it as a card or something. You can check out my thoughts, very in-depth thoughts, multiple videos when it comes on to the ending of Attack on Titan, the manga at least. So you can let me know what you guys think about that. But yeah, go ahead, Kyle.
But yeah, we can definitely see how sentiment had changed for Attack on Titan. First manga chapter, first anime episode versus last manga chapter. And the last episode hasn't come out as yet, but we're all hoping that it will be changed for God's sake, please. Because the story, you could call it, so the story was, when it started out, it was at 100%. Sure, when we switched over to the Marleyan people and showing their side of the story, it kind of dipped a little, I would say. The anime changing studios as well really didn't help
Mm-hmm.
that change, but people still stuck with it, and it was still seen as a great, great story until we started to reach the final what, 3 to 5 chapters,
Give
and
or
we
take.
started realizing a few inconsistencies and a few weird things. Now, mind you, when you include any form of time powers into the mix, and this ties heavy into Bleach as well when it comes to, like I said, I won't do any spoilers or anything,
Yeah.
but once you add time to the mix, things get really convoluted very fast.
Hmm.
Right, so I'm hoping and praying that, as I said, they fix some of those issues with the manga and don't pull a rug
Yeah.
and from under our feet and let the hype die out, because Bleach is one of the greatest, and we want to see it go out with an even bigger bang than most anime. We don't want to see another Attack on Titan ending happening for Bleach. We don't want that.
True, true, fair enough. And in this current landscape, really, with not just the anime, but the manga continuation. I don't know what's Kubo's long term plans for Burn the Witch, but like outside of the Thousand Year Blood War, when it comes down to anime like adaptations, like Bleach has the potential to go beyond the Thousand Year Blood War anime wise, and it went if Kubo decides to ever continue the manga. I mean, he did one chapter last year, and I mean that was it, but. I mean, even from what we saw from that chapter, it can really and truly probably help. I guess I want to say retcon, but in retrospect, it could probably help fix some things from the Thousand Year Blood War as well. So it depends on what he does with that Hell arc that he's writing apparently. So yeah. But for the most part, yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, the arc has a number of problems from lore to time mechanics to final villain in terms of how they're defeated and in terms of piercing and thing. And despite the hype that's on display and the genuine love for Bleach, I personally just am concerned that persons are going to switch from hyping and loving. They'll still love it, but I think there will be a crowd of persons who will pretty much start dunking on it and things kind of start get very, very toxic. So it's just a possibility based on the issues of the arc, and then again based on the facts, it just doesn't seem like there's going to be room to add anything to substantially improve the arc. But anyway, any final words from you, man?
I absolutely am looking forward to Bleach. I know I'm shouting to the clouds, shouting to the heavens when I say I'm pretty confident the manga will fix the anime will fix what the manga didn't do right. Oh god. Oh god. And I want to see Bleach thrive in this new landscape.
True.
I really want to see it thrive.
Definitely. It's the same here, man. But anyway, guys, respect for coming out. Of course, be sure to check out Kyle over by Vari Studios TV. We'll both be covering Bleach content for the foreseeable future, so definitely subscribe to both of us. Leave a like, leave your thoughts, and yeah, I'll see you in that first Bleach reaction review.